Am I my brother's keeper? Cain meant it as a dismissive deflection. Essentially, that's not my job. But the entire narrative answers that question with a resounding yes. The story of the first murder reveals what we owe each other simply by being human, and contains a surprising critique of civilization itself. Meet the two brothers. Abel keeps flocks, a shepherd living the nomadic pastoral life. Cain tills the soil, a farmer representing settled agricultural existence. Both bring offerings to God. God accepts Abel's, God rejects Cain's. The text never explains why. This unexplained preference becomes crucial for understanding the entire narrative. The contrast between these brothers isn't incidental. It reflects a tension that runs throughout the entire Bible. Before the murder, God gives Cain a remarkable warning. Sin couches at the door. Its urge is toward you, yet you can be its master. Sin appears as a predator waiting to pounce, but it can be mastered. Cain has a choice. This is the Bible's first explicit statement about human capacity to resist evil. Moral agency exists. The outcome isn't predetermined. What happens next is Cain's decision. Cain ignores the warning. He kills Abel. Then comes God's question, where is your brother Abel? Notice something. The word brother appears 7 times in this short narrative. 7, the number of completeness in Hebrew thought. This repetition isn't accidental, it's rhetorical emphasis. The text insists we see this murder as fratricide, the killing of a brother. Here's the theological puzzle. How can Cain be guilty? No written law exists yet. No, thou shalt not kill. No legal code. The answer, Cain's culpability assumes a universal moral law, a principle that exists prior to any written commandment. This law is grounded in the imago Dei, Latin for image of God, from Genesis 1. Because all humans bear God's image, human life has inherent sanctity. To murder is to destroy something that reflects the divine. Guilt doesn't require a written statute. The repeated use of brother does more than describe a family relationship. It universalizes the crime. If we're all created by the same God, bearing the same image, then we're all siblings. Every murder is brother killing brother. Fratricide, the murder of one's brother, becomes the template for understanding all homicide. Cain's dismissive question, am I my brother's keeper, is answered by the entire narrative structure. Yes, you are. Why does God prefer Abel's offering? The text never says explicitly, but a pattern emerges throughout the Bible. Pastoral nomadic life is idealized, settled civilization is viewed with suspicion. Abel the shepherd represents freedom, simplicity, closeness to creation. Cain the farmer represents cities, technology, complexity, and violence. After the murder, Cain builds the first city. His descendants invent metalworking, weapons, music, and urban arts. The genealogy links civilization's advances to the line of the murderer. Progress comes with a shadow, and this one common misreading. The mark of Cain was a curse or punishment. Actually, the mark was protection, preventing others from killing Cain. Even the first murderer receives divine protection. This reinforces the sanctity of life theme. God doesn't abandon the principle just because Cain violated it. The mark says even this life matters. Vengeance belongs to God, not to humans seeking retribution. The moral law applies universally, including to murderers. Watch for this pastoral urban tension throughout Scripture. It appears in the Exodus, leaving Egypt for the wilderness. It appears in the prophets, critiquing urban corruption. Even Jesus withdraws to deserts and mountains. The pattern established here echoes forward. This story also sets the trajectory toward the flood. The genealogies that follow track humanity's descent into violence until every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was evil continuously. The brother's keeper principle challenges individualism. The text suggests we have obligations to others simply because they're human, not because of contracts, citizenship, or personal relationships. The imago Dei creates bonds that precede all social arrangements. Cain's question was meant to end the conversation. Instead, it became one of the most important questions in human history. The Bible's answer, that we are responsible for one another, that human life bears divine image, that murder is always fratricide, shapes everything that follows in Scripture.